What's up, guys? It is DFS Up North, aka Josh Thomas here. Ready to talk about this showdown in prime time slate for this week. We've got tonight. We've got Rams and Seahawks, Seahawks, and then we've got the Eagles and the Eli Manning led Giants here. Ready to go. Let me see. I'm going to make sure I send out this link. I'm not sure how I do that to tell you that I'm live. Let me see if I click view on YouTube. Is that going to work? We'll see. Yeah. If you need YouTube open, let me see. All right, I'm going to go send this out in Slack. People are watching. This is the first time I've gone live on this. Live hand building lineups for tonight's showdown and primetime slate. Going to be short and sweet, so get in now. All right, that should work. Let's see what we got here. All right, so let's talk about tonight's slate. I wanted to look at and kind of see where John's at with the Statsationals Beat the Bookie model, or not the Beat the Bookie model, but his own personal model. The guy's super sharp, always pretty on point here for some of these games. And right now tonight he's got Rams beating the Seahawks 26-24. The Rams doing a lot of work through the air, and the Seahawks doing a lot of work on the ground. Tomorrow we've got the Giants and the Eagles. Eagles putting about 9 points on the Giants here. I think the Eagles are pretty heavy favorites. Definitely somebody that I like. He's got them doing a lot of work on the ground, which is good news for Miles Sanders. So we'll look at my sheet here in a second. I want to bring up DraftKings as well, so that we can talk about kind of what this looks like. All right, let's slide. We're going to do Showdown first because that's the one that you probably need to get your lineups in as quick as possible. So really for my captain's sheets, we're going to talk about DraftKings today only. FanDuel is fine. I can click over and look at that. But for the most part, we're going to be talking about DraftKings here. So I like Russell Wilson. I don't really have a core play. I'm kind of spraying out if I really might. I have a core flex play for sure in Higbee, but for the most part, I'm spreading my captain exposures out and then just kind of building from there. I'm not sure I'm gonna have time to MME tonight, so that's why I kind of wanted to do the hand build. So I'll build 4, 5, 6, 7 lineups, and I'm gonna build for those big contests, right? Obviously you want to build lineups for, I build 150 when you're entering those, but we've seen, plenty of guys win with, 4, 5, 6 lineups in there. I know Rhino, who's a member here. He took one down with I think 3 lineups. So I like Wilson. The issue with Wilson is that they're so committed to the run, and they have 2 excellent backs in Penny and Carson. So, Wilson's upside is just so capped, it feels like, in this offense because Pete Carroll loves to pound the ball. Last week, I think they almost eclipsed 30 touches between the 2 running backs, which is insane, right? So I think his upside's capped a little here. I prefer Goff. Not only is he at the discount, but for the Rams to win, they're going to have to air it out. They're going to have to throw it a ton, and it's going to come on Goff's arm. So last week, he went 424 and 2 TDs. I'd like to see 3 TDs. But Goff's a guy I definitely like, so we'll build some Goff stacks. I love wide receivers, obviously, in these matchups. I think Cooper Kupp makes a lot of sense. I think he makes a ton of sense on FanDuel, where he is way underpriced. Lit up the Seahawks for 29 points in week 5. Woods was the guy last week. It seems like sometimes we end up with, kind of going back to back with these guys. I think that Gurley makes a lot of sense here at his price. They really do need to unleash Gurley 100%. If they want to be in the playoffs, if they want to make a run here, I really think that they need to continue to establish that run game. And that opens up, and that'll open up the pass. I think Dalvin Cook, we saw crush in this spot last week. If Gurley gets a similar sort of volume, he could have a huge day here. I just saw Geek talking about it in the chat. DK Metcalf. Love him here. I think he's my preferred receiver. He should avoid Jalen Ramsey. Tyler Lockett, I think, is hurt, so I hope that Jalen Ramsey goes on Lockett. Anyways, that's my opinion. That's not an actual injury report. I just think that shin injury that he's dealing with from back in week 10 is really still bothering him. That's why we've seen his production kind of level out here. So Higbee, one of my favorite plays here. I think that, despite even the big bump in price, the Seahawks suck against the tight end, and they are going to force feed Higbee the ball a bunch. So let's go to the contest showdowns. All right. So like I said, we're looking at the big contest. Maybe if I have time, I'll build a cash lineup too. But let's look at some of these. So here's the guy who's won, right on top, Rhino. Okay. He's got 13 lineups in here. You don't need 150 on some of these contests if you build the right way. Now, are there going to be guys that are in here with 150? 100%. Let's see if we can find. Oh, no, not in here. Yeah, Mock Lovin's in here. It's not telling me how many entrants he's got, but I would imagine he's going to be close to 150. So look at the payout structure, right? We got $200,000 to first. Okay. First place is 25% of the prize pool, right? We know in these showdowns that those ties definitely happen. I think that showdown lends itself more to where you don't necessarily need to build 150 outside of just wanting to get those combinations, right? I think you have a better chance of winning with one lineup than a lot of other sports and contests. So again, you want to be building one of these top 2-3 nuts lineups really just to make some money. And I think you got to build a little bit differently to do that. So let's see here. We talked about Goff being one of my favorite captains because I think if they're gonna be successful tonight, it's really gonna come on the arm of Jared Goff. So if we take a look at his player card here, his game logs, okay, boom, big week last week, but then 3 duds in a row, right? We're looking at 25, 26, 27 points for kind of the ceiling here for Goff, and I think that kind of pays it off. So Cup, Higbee, my 2 favorite guys. All right. So we're basically with this lineup, we're telling the story that Goff is going to throw at least 2 touchdown passes, maybe 3, and Cup and Higbee are each going to get at least 1, right? That's the story we're telling. If they're throwing the ball, what's Seattle likely doing? They're going to be scoring. Who's scoring for Seattle? All right. So we talked a little bit ago about how these running backs just get a ton of volume. All right. So we've got Carson and Penny. All right. Penny, 14K less than Carson. I think that he's the superior back. My concern is that Carson gets those goal line carries, right? So let's throw Penny in there. He saves us some salary. So now kind of what I like to do is I want to look down here and say, okay, where are my turds at, right? Where's this guy that's going to absolutely blow up the slate by scoring a touchdown? Okay. Malik Turner. He's a guy who can, right? We look at his game log, 0 points last week, 0 targets, but he's had some weeks where he's had, a reception and 2 targets on 2 targets. So 1-2 targets. Turner's a guy that could blow it up. On the Ram side of the ball, a guy that I really like is Josh Reynolds. He's way underpriced here. Despite being the number 4 receiver, he's getting kind of that number 3 sort of work. So I like Reynolds. Rams D, I think, is interesting. I don't think Wilson turns the ball over, but the running backs and receivers do. So I think the Rams D is definitely an interesting kind of turd play if we're looking for one here. But a super cheap guy that I like, Jacob Hollister, right? Super cheap. Game logs, 8 targets, 4 targets, 10 targets, 6 targets. The Rams are not great against the tight end. And with Lockett being locked up by Jalen Ramsey, this makes a lot of sense. So we can now where do you go here? How do you make this different? So if I add DK Metcalf in here, I'm using all of my salary, right? I think that's fine. You don't need to be super crazy. Is this a unique percent? No, right? But it doesn't always have to be that unique lineup in Showdown, right? It doesn't have to be like the craziness to make it work. So I like this lineup. I think this is a lineup that you could really feasibly run out and cash. I got 2 pass catchers for Seattle, which I don't technically really like to do without their receiver or without their quarterback, but this seems to work. So I think this could work. This might be you're splitting first place with 150 guys, right? You're using all your salary. We're using pretty much known commodities here. So this is a lineup that works. So I'm going to enter it. Okay. At least it works for me. This lineup could, if Goff struggles, it does. All right. So let me enter. Let's go back to the lobby here. And let's take a look let's try to build something that is unique enough to win. All right. Create a new lineup here to take it down by itself. All right. What do we got here? Just want to make sure nobody's commenting. All right. So if we're going to get unique tonight, I think some low-owned captain plays are going to be guys like Penny, Metcalf, Higbee. Higbee might be a little more popular just because of what he's done. I think Cooks is an interesting captain play if you're really trying to bink this thing. You can go Josh Gordon. I don't suggest it. You don't see that in my notes, but those are viable plays that you sometimes have to think through if you're trying to win these huge contests, right? So Higbee, let's go. Let's make a Higbee lineup. All right. So if we're trying to win this, right, and we're trying to get very unique, sometimes what you have to do is stuff that doesn't make sense. And you got to tell a story that when you look back on it, you go, oh shit, that makes tons of sense. But in the moment when you're building, it doesn't. So let's say this. Let's say that Higbee gets 100 yards and a touchdown and is the nuts captain and the Seahawks win 34-10. Is that a feasible scenario? 100%, right? So let's build for that, right? So we got Higbee smashing, okay? If they're going to crush, likely that the Seahawks are in there, right? So already right away, boom, I've got defense versus my captain. That makes me unique right now. I'm cutting that field in way low percentage, okay? Let's say if they're going to crush Wilson, Metcalf. Man, I got tons of salary here. Nope, no Goff. Okay, Wilson, Metcalf. Let's go, let's say Rashad Penny in there, okay? I got tons of salary here. Now, let's say I really want to go unique. Double running back. I think that's 100% feasible here, right? I'm trying to win this thing, okay? Does this line, when you look at this lineup, does it make a ton of sense? No, but what am I trying to do? Trying to win a contest with 94,000 people in it, and win $200,000 by myself. This is what you got to do to do it. Now I could afford Goff here. I could even leave, a ton of salary on the table and say, okay, let's say Zerline, maybe this game is 17 to 30, right? I could do this. Okay. But I kind of like having all these running backs in here. So boom, that's kind of my funky bunch lineup. And really the reason I wanted to make that was, just show like, hey, these are the lineups that sometimes win, right? And if that lineup wins, I would be surprised if I split it with more than 10 people, right? A Seahawks onslaught on the road doesn't make a lot of sense. And people aren't going to be building that type of lineup too often here. Hi, Al. Yeah, I know. I think he's going to be for sure popular after last week. But to be honest, maybe the best play here is Carson, right? Carson at the captain spot. I think that makes some sense. Can we build a lineup without quarterbacks? Let's look at that. Actually, here's what I want to do. Let's go in here. Sorry, I was just running the the NBA optimal for tonight. Let's go to NFL. Let's see what is coming up in the top lineups for tonight to give us an idea of what the projections kind of say. Something I always do. Run it in tournament mode. I always like to throw a little randomization in there. Let's build about 10. 2 uniques. See what it gives me. Drives me nuts when that happens. Let's like him. Let's like the tight ends. So before we build that no QB lineup, what's it giving me here? So we're giving me a Carson lineup. Ooh, a Lockett captain. I'm gonna make the fade on Lockett tonight. I just think, not a full fade, but like 10 to 15%. I think he's hurt. I think he sees Jalen Ramsey. And they're giving me like 100 or 60% cat Lockett. What is it giving me for captains? Lots of Wilson. I don't mind that. Okay. So top lineup would be Lockett, Gordon, Zerline, Kupp, Goff, Wilson. So double QB lineup. Projection wise, you're always going to get a lot of double QBs. You almost have to force it to not give you double QB. So we're going to build a non-QB line. No, you can pretty much put whoever in there. But let's say, cancel. I don't want to do that. Let's say we're assuming that this is going to be a low-scoring slugfest, right? So let's do Gurley captain. Let's get Carson in there. Let's go Penny. We'll go double QB. Let's go Greg the leg. Right. And let's say usually in these sort of games, there's a receiver that has a really big night too. Maybe he gets 100 yards and a touchdown, but the quarterback throws for 210 and a touchdown. That's not going to get him in the nuts. So I like that. And then we'll save some salary here and say Ramsey. Okay, maybe Wilson. So what's the story telling us? Run game was good. Wilson threw a couple of picks, right? Basically, that's what that's saying. And maybe the Rams took one to the house, right? Actually, let's leave that. Let's enter that. I like that. That's 6,300 on the table. It's unique to take it down, but it's not that out of this world, right? Basically, that's saying, okay, the model's wrong. We're going to have, this is going to be a 17-14 divisional slugfest. Rams and Gurley at home, right? Greg the leg. Yep, I like that. Okay. Spencer Ware's in the game. Oof. That's dangerous. So those are, I'm going to build one more here. And I'm going to build what I would consider like a cash team for tonight. So a lot of times when I'm trying to build cash for Showdown, I just punch myself in the face in the team, but I know some lineup for Showdown is you basically want to try to lock in on the scoring. So these realistically we want both kickers, right? Typically that gets all your that builds for floor, right? You don't need to win a cash contest. You just need to cross the finish line, right? So what really messes with the cash lines and Showdown sometimes is when we get those 100-yard bonuses. Those are what ends up, or you get a receiver that gets like 9-10 catches. Those really screw with the cash line sometimes. So you got to deal with that. But so if I'm going to build this, right, I want, let's say Gurley captain. Okay. Let's see. Can I get Carson? Can I get Goff? Can I get Wilson? I should be able to do everybody today. So some weeks you can, some weeks you cannot. All right. So now what happens is you end up, okay, I got 1,700 left. I can upgrade, right? So let's see if there's any upgrades from the kickers. Oof, I don't like taking out Greg the leg, but I could get up to Hollister, right? Put the zero line back in. Can I get up to Hollister from Myers? Oh yeah, for sure. So you could build this for cash. I don't mind this, right? Hollister's getting a ton of targets. The Rams aren't great by any means against the tight end. I think that with the lockdown on Lockett, Hollister's going to see quite a bit of work. But let's see what this looks like too. So if I go Penny instead of Carson, right? Oops, I don't want the cop. I can now get up to like a Tyler Higbee, which I like. Rams at home, right? But again, you're putting Gurley in the captain. So what needs to happen? Gurley needs to ball out, right? Has he done that in the past? Yeah, absolutely. Is it more likely that we see like Goff or Wilson ball up? Probably. But can we afford him? See, we need Goff to ball out. Let's put him in the captain. And who can I afford? Get Higbee out of there. Can I get Gurley? Oh, yeah. So I can get Gurley and Cooks. I can get Gurley and Hollister. So you can mess around with these sort of cash type builds as well. But I'd probably be sticking with the what's LA's DVP versus the run. Well, let's see. DraftKings is usually pretty good about at least being close. 13th. Carson, 12th. Yeah, it's middle of the road defenses on both sides of this. Outside of the tight ends really being a place to attack the Seahawks. So, you look here, the offensive rank. It's pretty middle of the road for everyone. All right. I like Gurley a lot. Just seeing those comments. So you can build, your cash type lineups like that. That's kind of where I'm at. So I didn't talking about some turds here. Let's get some SEO specials, right? Josh Reynolds. If we look at his player profile, 4 or 5 targets, 39 yards, right? Two targets, 2 catches, 6 targets, 3 catches. So in Cook's absence, he really didn't do much. In the beginning of the year, he didn't do much. But even with Cook coming back last week, 4 receptions, 4 targets, 39 yards, 20 for a long, right? He's got some of this deep ball potential, right? So they get down into, the 30-yard line. Reynolds busts one to the house. He's definitely going to be involved, and he's so cheap. Do we see, like I said, I talked about Turner. I don't think Luke Wilson's going to play tonight. He's officially doubtful. If he does, he's interesting. Mike Thomas, no, there's nobody down here you really want to play. Jaron Brown, if he's healthy and playing, he played last week, 1 catch, 6 yards. He's involved. I think that, really though, I think Josh Gordon could be a slate breaker tonight. So let's build one like that. Let's say Wilson goes off tonight, right? So we're gonna get Gordon, we're gonna get Metcalf, we're gonna come back with Gurley. And we're going to leave some salary on the table. Well, actually, if I go Reynolds, what can I get? I can get anybody, right? So Gurley and Higbee, and let's throw in Penny. Yeah, I like that lineup quite a bit. Boom, I'm entering that. That's my Russell Wilson crushes, and the Rams do okay, right? Or that could be, honestly, that with that sort of lineup with a Gurley and Higbee, that could be a Wilson's down and has to chuck it a bunch, right? That's an entirely feasible tonight too. All right, I really like the. Do you fade Penny? I'm not going to fade Penny. I don't really have any reason to. I mean, if you think that Carson's the guy, go for it. I mean, that's what these showdowns are about. Making a stand like that, and you're right, you smash. But if you're not right, you're just basically handing away all that money. And really, that's the best way to play Showdown, honestly. Like, you got to be able to just light that money on fire and say, see you later. And just, if you get anything back, it's great. And once every 5-6 games, you might crush. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way Showdown. I was going to say, I thought it hurt. I was going to say, Fournette hurt? Oh, no, he's just killing you. I get that. All right. So let's build some. I really like the primetime slate. Let's build some primetime lineups. Before we do that, there's a couple of FanDuel guys that are in, like, if you're playing on FanDuel tonight, Tyler Higbee at 8,500 is like 100% lock for me. I have a 75 to 80 here. It's 100%. Like, you just play him at that price. Like, he catches 3 balls, he's going to make value. Jacob Hollister, 8,500. Pretty close to a lock, right? I love that spot for him. Brandon Cooks, again, I think is going to go on their own. He's not producing like he was. And then Cooper Kupp, 12,000. Rashad Penny, Chris Carson, Robert Woods, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson are all priced over Cooper Kupp on FanDuel. Like, get the fuck out of here. That's insane. Okay, let's go to the primetime cheat sheet. All right, so here's where I'm at. Eli Manning. No, I'm not playing Eli Manning. That's insane. I mean, I guess it's a great GPP play if you want to go there, but yeah, not interested. Jared Goff, like I said like I said a second ago, he's going to fix my spelling mistakes here before Bobby yells at me. If they're gonna win and be in this game, he's gonna have to crush. So I think he makes some sense. Carson Wentz is my favorite guy, though. He's favored. He's home. He's thrown the ball at least 39 times in each of the last 5 weeks. Finally had that multiple touchdown game last week against the Dolphins, and this Giants secondary is realistically probably worse. Sanders is good, but if Howard's not there, they are going to chuck the ball up. So Wentz is my favorite play. On the, I like Gurley and Penny here. Penny's price for the primetime is insane, so you just play him. And then you can kind of fit everybody else. Greg Ward's a cheap punt. I really like Sterling Shepard. I know I just laughed about Eli Manning, but the guy crushes with Manning, crushes the Eagles. So I like him quite a bit. I actually think this is probably a double tight end week in GPP. I kind of like what that sort of build does for you. And the interesting thing about primetime, some guys against your defense, and that's okay. I typically in these primetime slates like to play the cheapest player against, or the cheapest defense that I can find. But yeah, let's go game style classic. All right, let's build a single entry lineup here. So I talked about how Wentz is my favorite play. Let's put him in, and we'll stack him up with his boy Elshon. Again, prime time. Don't feel like you need to use all of the salary. I'm just going to lock in Gurley. I'm going to lock in Penny, and we'll see about if I can get Sanders in the flex. So let me get some Elshon in here. We talked about Shepard, right? So now I got that game stack going, right? Now I got that game stack. I got Wentz, Jeffrey, Shepard coming back. All right. DST. Obviously, the Eagles are in a good spot here with Eli Manning there. He could take 1,000 sacks, right? So let's put him in there. Again, I don't mind playing guys against my defense. Tight end. I really like Higbee tonight. Okay, I like Ertz, but I think that it's Higbee's my guy here. So now if I go, what does it look like? I went the double tight end. So I got Wentz, Jeffrey, and Ertz. Shepard running it back. Okay. I got Penny and Higbee. Okay. So now Penny, Higbee, Gurley. Okay. So where am I going here with my other wide receiver spot? You can go a lot of different ways. Basically what I need though is I would really like to get some Seattle offense in here. All right. So we talked about how Lockett's likely to get shut down. I like DK Metcalf. You want to get play single entry, a couple thousand people. I don't need to get insane, but leaving 2,300 on the table here. That's pretty reasonable. Maybe I'm leaving Miles Sanders off, right? So I could get Sanders here. I could fit him in no problem. Now I leave 1,000. Maybe a build like that. I like Rashad Penny here in this spot at this price, and I don't mind that sort of build. That I could enter that. I would enter this in cash contests. I feel pretty confident in this build overall. Maybe I'd upgrade. No, I love Shepard tonight. I think he's great. Rams. Most of the public does like Seattle. Fading Wilson definitely in play. Fading both the RBs for sure. Again, this is Showdown. These are the stands that you got to take. Rams onslaught, that'd be different for sure. The public, but yeah, the Rams are at home. And people don't trust Goff, but I don't know. I like that. So yeah, once we get off here, I'm going back in to build some Rams onslaught lineups. And then from what I read, the Rams looking to feed Gurley the ball. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, they need to give Gurley the ball 20 times a game. So even in like your Rams onslaught tonight, I think sometimes we get stuck in like main slate GPP mode where we're trying to we can't play a quarterback with a running back. No, fuck that. Like you can play that for sure, right? You can play Gurley captain and Goff in the flex. You're trying to build a lineup that's going to score the most amount of points for the money, right? So could Gurley throw 3 touchdowns and Goff and Gurley run one in and not get a touchdown from Goff and they be in the same lineup? Absolutely. That can happen 100%. So let's see. One more. Let's go primetime. Yes. Let's just take a look and see. I'm sure it's going to give me Wilson. I do love these primetime slates for GPP, like MME, like building 150 lineups. I do. I really like it. Even just 20, like playing that 20 max, just kind of seeing what it gives you. 3 uniques. You can play up to, I always go 3 for defense. Go to server mode. Thank God we have that. I leave all of this though. Okay. Even just not running it with any, I don't want a long one, so I want to like him. And I like Jeffrey. Let's just see what it gives me. No randomization either. So 20 lineups. Who does it like? Lots of Wentz. Holy Mary and Joseph, right? So points per dollar. We are loving Wentz. That's the other thing that, we can always do this. Fantasy points per dollar. Wentz. Goff. Great fantasy points per dollar play. Wilson, Manning. Giants D. Interesting, right? They're so cheap. You can play them. Sanders, Saquon, right? We're paying for Saquon from 2 years ago or from last year and not Saquon this year. Lots of Goddard, right? Lots of Higbee. Oh, it's got Evan Ingram. He is not going to play. So if you're building, you need to make sure that you take care of that. Again, defense really doesn't matter. Even against your quarterback here, you can play that. That's entirely fine because let's say Wentz throws for 330, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. If the Giants take that pick back, they're in the nuts. Like, no question. Like, that's what, unless one of the other teams scores, I really think that they're going to be in the nuts. So, you got to kind of play for that. So that's all I've got for tonight. Hope this helped you guys. And we will, let's go get it in the Showdown slate. See ya.